Well, so far our giant money-making operation seems to be running pretty smoothly. We have a bunch piled up here, there's some even poking out of the collection boxes here, and we have also cleared all the objectives over here so we can focus purely on making money. Part of that involves torching the slag again so that can get processed properly. And maybe also figuring out what to do with all of these spores that are here, because there's a lot of it. But now that the burned slag is falling through properly, we are getting a lot of it. So let's look at our research tree. And there is, let's see, we're finding, yeah, planter boxes. We just need a little more money. And maybe we can find a way to automate the burning of the slag, because we haven't even discovered lava blocks yet that a few of the things like to tell us about. And maybe also get a few more collection tiles in here, because there's a lot of money to be had for sure. And all this burnt slag is resulting in so many spores. Thankfully, we already had a healthy dose of money from the last time, and we might have enough to upgrade some things as well. Okay, not quite. We need a few more things to upgrade the jetpack or the flamethrower, but there are some things in here that we can upgrade, like maybe the shovel for digging. And there were 2,000 monies we can go ahead and get refining too. Or refining 3, I guess that was, for planter boxes. So let's take a look at what those are. Drop wet spores on a planter box to start growing flowers so you can destroy it to get gold and petals. Yet another resource that we're gonna need to figure out what to do with. But can we get like a water gun somewhere? We could get pipes after a little more money. I feel like for right now, we could take this water that's directly under the spore box and steam it up so it goes in there properly. Oh, that went the wrong way. Well, hopefully it goes somewhere into the spore box. Oh, okay, it's falling down there. Some of it is going in, but others is just falling down into the hole there, where instead it wets the sand. But we definitely want the vent over here with the water that's underneath it to go over here and line up with the spore box like so. So that should work fine. Now let's move underground and actually move this stuff. So we have the water that's right here. That's easy enough to torch. Get on up and out of here. Just make it all burn away and maybe get rid of the dirt that's on the wall too. Whoa! Massive water reservoir. I didn't even know this was here. Well, that's fun. And the moss that's under here is still burning. So how extensive is this? Well, it looks like it's gonna make it easier to connect to the steam vent here. So that's good news. Let's just speed up the process a little bit. And we need to destroy a little bit of it here just to solidify the connection better. Got some wet sand as a result, but that's okay. We can just move this over to the conveyor belt and resume that operation. Now we'll just steam a little bit of it here. Get a good backlog of steam going just so we can go up to the surface and make sure this is working properly. Gotta hurry though. Okay, so it looks like we are collecting water there, but the wet spores are getting in the way, it seems like, which is interesting, but it is falling exactly where it should, with a little bit of a byproduct. So what, we gotta move the wet spores a little bit to clean up the regular spores. This is a bit of an annoying process. I think we'll have to reorganize the spore collection bit here so that can be constantly cycling and filling up with wet spores. But we also need planter boxes here. So can we just have like a big old row of them? I think we can do that. And we take some wet spores, plant them on there, and look at that, they're growing up in the flowers. And they grow up a lot at a time too. And how do we destroy this? Do we just dig it? Seems like we dig it, and that pumped out, whoa, gold. That fell through. Interesting. And there's amethyst? Huh? Is this the petals? Seems like it is. Let's try that again. And does it give anything different than these petals, or is it only this one kind of flower? Seems like it's only that one kind of flower. Red sand, so do we drop it in like the sand soil or the grass? Unless red sand is like part of the stuff that's further down. But as I fear, this is all sandstone anyway. But at least we can keep digging over here. Okay, there's a bit more green stuff, so spore mound. Can we torch this? It's dropping spores when we harvest it, which is interesting. So how far does this go over here? What are we gonna find over this way? Oh, another giant reservoir! And is that more crackstone there? It is. Okay, so let's connect this with the shaft right here. That should ventilate it. But let's get all the sand out of here just so it doesn't use the water supply. And instead use the water supply that's on the conveyor belt there. Not gonna lie, was kind of hoping the planter boxes would automate the water collection so we wouldn't have to rely on reservoirs like this. But I guess that's not so simple. But at least we're moving a lot of sand again. So that'll be a good chunk of change going in once that's all done. Okay, now we have moss here, so let's torch this and see what we get. Hopefully a clean path. Oh ho, hello. More or less a clean path. And there's some more flux stone here too, or fluxite. So a bit more upgrade points to ourselves. And this is actually going quite a ways. Okay, more bedrock. But this is a big old cave of Fluxite with quite the annoying arrangement of bedrock things that are keeping me from getting further in here. So I guess that's what the rocket launcher can be good for. Just blow it up in there and reveal even more of it. Oh my goodness, this is quite the pocket of Fluxite. And it just keeps going? Get further in there. It's like trying to play the most perfect game of pachinko. Just need you to get right in there. Oh, beautiful shot. And then keep going that way. So it just gets through like that. And then we're at the back of the cavern. Okay, it looks like we're at the back of the cavern that way, but all these little bits are so annoying. And we already have almost 3,000 Fluxite. This is looking very good, but it's starting to feel like this is all we can get from this side. So let's go back to what we were doing, which is digging out all of this. Oh, so much wet sand. It's so painful, but it's still a way to make money. Just not the way that I'm trying to get this figured out here. You know it's successful when you're picky about how you make the money. And we can get this all going right up through there. Although I do kind of wonder about opening up the cracked stone over here and seeing where the water flows. So let's get the wet sand out of here for now, and then maybe we can open that up. Even though there is quite the chunk of it here. Okay, and I guess some of the water is starting to drip back in through here, so I wonder where that steam is going. Okay, we are collecting quite a bit of water there, so that's good news. And I'm not seeing any steam coming out of here anymore, so I wonder if we were too slow with that. Okay, so it does connect over that way, so that's good. And while these planters are nice, it's still kind of weird how it just happens like that. You know what? We probably should have done this sooner. Just a small thing of collectors here because it's a small amount of money that's coming out. That's also all the room that we have. So when we get through all of this stuff, the petals just kind of sit there. Oh, hold on. Are they replanting? Or is there just wet spores on top that didn't make it down? There might have just been wet spores on top. But also some of these flowers grow really tall for whatever reason. So yeah, we definitely need to figure out more here. So we need a conveyor to come through here that'll return the spores to this. And then we have like a elevator over here that can bring the spores up to there and then cycle them through so they land on top of the water. So that's cycling through very nicely, but I think we could actually change these out to be filters, wherever those are. So we let wet spores through to go to the planters, and yeah, it's just kind of quickly getting distributed in the wrong way there. So conveyor first to bring it over here, and then we plant it. But the weird thing is that symbol there with the petals. It's a mountain with a sunrise, and then just red sand. And we're also just stacking wet spores on top of the plants here too. It's a little weird, but I guess it will spread out to the other planters as soon as it overflows this way. And some of the flowers just end up growing very tall. I wonder, can we torch the flowers? Oh yeah, sure enough we can, and that just harvests it normally anyway, so we can torch a whole bunch of this, but also that is just continuing to grow. Wow. But at least the wet spores don't get burned, so we can still collect gold and shuffle things that way, but I feel like we need to just move this to a bigger pot of gold, because that's gonna overflow pretty soon too. So let's actually spend some money to buy some lights, and then we get drones? Digger and hauler. Oh, that would be amazing. This also seems like quite a successful money operation happening here already. Those flowers just keep on growing. What do they feed these things? But it's also blocking the spore thing from going, so get out of here, you. Oh, but that's also gonna cause the gold to go back to the pit, isn't it? And the petals. We'll have to think about that, so let's work on something else right now. And maybe strap some of those lights. So if we like strap a light there, okay, not really sure if that adds anything. At least it looks cool and makes it so we always see what's happening down here, so still useful. Especially as we go down into the lake here. Oh, that shines through the rock sometimes. Nice. And curiosity's getting the better of me, so open this up. Whoa, okay. I think we just opened up a much more massive reservoir. Plus there's more Fluxite over here, along with some moss that we can torch. So get burning there. Oh man, look at that water flowing in here. This is all gonna level out pretty nicely. So it's a good thing that we're opening up another chute here. What is down here? More moss to burn. I feel like we're uncovering like a massive secret here, more than the relics were in the last video. And we can also do a whole bunch of upgrades. Better movement speed on that. Probably gonna be good. I think yes. And then flamethrower, max that out easily enough. And oh, even more Fluxite down here. Can we just strap a light somewhere to see us better? There we go. Whoa, big old burst. And it looks like there's some letters here. Unless that's coincidence. Well, either way, that's more fun for our rocket launcher. Which the embers that fall down is actually torching the water to steam it. So that's fun. But it might be better to just dig out the Fluxite like this. Can we place lights underwater? I don't think we can. So I guess we just gotta go exploring down here, which really doesn't leave much to explore, to be honest. And this is all the further we can go over here. So I guess we might be done down here. So we can use just a whole lot of this reservoir here. I like it. And we have a little ramp on the end there, just so it doesn't fill up in this area. It's working so well. We just have a backlog of steam here. I love it. And actually, if we clear all of this out, then we can place down more conveyors to move all the sand and whatnot normally. Although the spores are gonna get caught in that as well. And I will say that is quite the backlog of sand here, because it's choked off right here. Well, aren't you annoying? And it still likes to grow. Where are you growing from? We know that the wet spores are eventually gonna make their way through here, so let's place another filter where the only thing that's blocked is the spores, so it can pass through this way. And honestly, we might need a second row of this for the wet spores, just in case, since some of it might get mixed, but I'm hoping that that's gonna move both without needing to be level like this, or without needing there to be a space between both of them like this. Also, oh my gosh, these flowers are the most annoying things ever. Burn! But oh my gosh, it's growing already. Where are you growing from? You're not even in a planter box. These flowers are out of control, my goodness. You know what, I don't even care. Launch them into this little dip right here, just to get rid of them. Just to get them all out of this little pit here. It's blocking the gold from going into the things even. I'm too busy destroying this planet to worry about what to do with the petals. At least they all make it in there and they get launched pretty normally, even if it might need to be just a little higher. I was kind of worried that they would just fall out normally, but they're all making it. Now this is gonna fill up uncontrollably. Great! So if we unlock refining 4, we can create Fluxite from void bloom. What does that even mean? Are these flowers void blooms? I would believe it if they were, but either way, this is certainly not the most efficient money-making process that we have right now, because my goodness, these things are uncontrollable. So let's move on to different things. And also maybe get rid of the ice here that's blocking all of that. Okay, it's blocking all of this steam from getting out through this way, and then we can turn it all into steam. Oh, and there's another reservoir down here, even better. So even if we might not be able to, like, continuously recycle water, there's still plenty of it down in here, which is good. And it can all, oh no, that's going the wrong way. My conveyor belt is working against me. Hold on, hold on. Oh gosh, so now it's filling up the slag thing. That's not what I wanted. Need like a roof over this whole thing. Just need the steam to go all to one place. Okay, at least now it is flowing back into the cave. At least we can drain it just like this. Okay, so that's simple enough, but now it's down here. You know what, at least down here maybe it can sort through the sand a little bit, and the launchers don't seem to care about the water, which is also good. And sadly, it seems like we might not be able to close this off entirely. Actually, we can. Good. Hopefully we don't have to deal with that again. Oh, you gotta love it when one simple oversight messes up an entire system. But let's go ahead and just empty this whole reservoir, at least that top little bit. Not sure we need to use all this water quite yet, but the good news is that's all flowing down very nicely here. I also completely forgot that there was crackstone over here. Well then, time to see what secrets you have. It's an entire open cave, who'd have figured? With plenty more Fluxite, even better. And we can torch all the moss that's here, hopefully. Although this isn't burning, it's just grass? Well, that's annoying. Now we have to fly up here and destroy this stuff manually, and then figure out how to get all of this dirt back to the main assembly path, because I think there's a big old wall here. Whoa, or a massive funky cave. How many caves are there? I thought I was done with caves. Burn this stuff. There's even more Fluxite at the end of this. This is a very interesting system here, and I thought I discovered all the secrets, but clearly I didn't. Someone also pointed out the funky shapes that all these little Fluxite pockets have, which I do agree is funky, but I really wonder how far down this goes. We're down past this area here. I really wonder if this is just gonna open up to the bottom of the world. But we found another Fluxite pocket accidentally. You know what, I probably need lights down here, that would help. And maybe using the Fluxite to increase the digging speed all the way to maximum. And I think that's really all that is worth it, except for maybe better ammo size on the rocket. So now we can just be digging relentlessly. Oh, ooh, we're finding new stuff. What is this? Red soil. Oh, maybe that's what the flowers need. Oh, so we should definitely move that. Okay, the red soil makes red sand for the amethylus, which I guess is also heavier than sand. Oh boy, we're gonna need to start a whole other production line down here. And there's spore seeds too. Can we do like an underground thing? I'm not sure that would work with the planter boxes just because flowers normally need sunlight, but maybe they're special flowers, like freaky mutant flowers that say feed me all the time. But either way, this is resulting in a lot of sand that I think we're gonna have to move, which is still not answering the question of can we connect this back to here? Maybe if we go this way? Nope, we just found another cave by accident. Of course. It's another moss wall, so open up. Is it gonna be water? Oh, whoa, there's the lava. Even better than water. Wow, I hope we don't have to worry about falling into that. If we can move this into the slag box, then that could constantly result in burnt slag. Can we pick this up? We cannot pick it up. But that's probably what the pipes are for. And there's another thing of moss here that also looks like it's connecting to the water, maybe through there, but there's still a wall of dirt there, so I hope we can open this up without consequence. And it's just resulting in more dirt. Okay, so that's gonna connect to here. We don't want that. So we might need a line of conveyors and movers coming through here on its own, although it's pretty convoluted coming through here, to be honest. Oh, and I just realized that that still isn't working right either. So now we have water in the slag pit here. I wonder if burnt slag evaporates water. I'm sure it might have some effect like that, and it looks like it is. Does that make it go to a better spot? Doesn't seem like it. So let's just extend the roof to both of these spots and have it cap off like so. That should work better. And then we have to evaporate this water yet again. I'm sensing a pattern here that I don't know if I like, but at least this is all still burning the slag, which is good. And that seems to work a lot better, though some of the steam still gets captured, it looks like. Oh, but it doesn't say captured for long because it just gives up and falls as rain anyway. So task failed successfully. And you know what? There's a whole roof here that I could dig out to put on the conveyor belt. So I don't know why I haven't done that yet. But the urge to buy things to improve our system is getting stronger by the minute. But everything seems to be working topside, so we can continue operations down here. And then probably just plan out a massive elevator to get up and down into here. All the way down like this should be good. So now we can let this pit clean out itself, which has given us a lot more money again. So we could get a tool that solidifies lava and freezes water, but I don't really see the benefit of freezing water in the first place, unless to move it as snow. I also kind of want to move this red soil, the little bit that we have uncovered here, to figure out what happens when we mix it with the petals that we uncovered. Just gotta move enough, or delete enough of this to move it as one whole chunk, slowly bring it up and out of here, and then maybe just dump it in the pit of petals that we made over here. Let's see what happens. Okay, so it just changed color, and now it's void bloom. So that's how we need it for the flux eminator. Okay, things finally have use again. But that is a long system that we're gonna have to make to get the redstone over there, or red sand, whatever it is. We also need just like a layer of lava to drip in here and clear out these things, just so I don't have to. Unless the drones can do that. And I think we can also reevaluate this row of planters just so the petals have room to fall down and then get up and out over here. Okay, so for that we need filters to block the amethylus and let everything else fall through, so it can still make it to the planters, and yeah, it can be up like that. And the good news is it's still letting the gold drip through. And since we're elevating this, that'll give us more room to put the gold collection boxes underneath here. And sure enough, the flowers do not wait very long to start growing again. Goodness. But the good news is now we have enough money to unlock the pipe system. Now we should be able to move the water around a lot more efficiently, although the pipes transport liquids, and then there's pumps and liquid vents, so this should be a much easier way to get the water that's below ground. Plus, it also means we have a lot more room in the money things, and there is a perfectly ginormous amount of water that we can test this out with, right over here. So first, let's see, the pipes are yay big. Oh, so those actually might be able to run through here maybe, if that's even something that can happen, or can they just go through the ground? Can we delete the pipes at all? I don't know if we can delete the pipes. Well, those are just kind of there, but if we can move them through the ground, then that should make it a pretty easy process to get them into the thing here. Okay, so if we can get the pipe going down like this, all the way through the ground. Oh, that's perfect. And then we go over and down like this. we basically create a shower for the spores, so it's all wet spores. So we might as well branch this over to this pipe here and then down to the bottom probably. And then we put a pump in. And now the water level's moving, so it should be moving the water too, right? Yes, it is. It's dropping chunks of water down at a time. Good. Now let's clean up the conveyor belt here because my goodness, the plants are just constantly out of control. Need to purge all of this. Now we just need a way to consistently purge this. Can the pipes move lava, I wonder? It says liquid, so maybe, but I don't really see an efficient way of doing that. Like, I cannot fathom how fast these are growing. They're racing against their own extinction. It's kind of impressive in a way. Like, most of this is burning and it's still insisting on growing. Nature's healing. It's healing too fast. Okay, but also the little petal bunch here is starting to fill up pretty drastically as well. So I think we need to start moving through this line here with the little void bloom things, which we need a flux eminator for, and that costs $4,000. Okay, so the filters here allow everything except amethyllis. That's gonna be good for the gold to pass through into the collector bins. So let's just set up a whole mess of those if we can. And then over this, we could have a row of planters. You know what would help automate this? The drones for 3,000 because there's a digger there. The situation seems mostly under control, so I think we can get everything going here again. And then to that end, I think we need to reevaluate this filter here so everything except dry spores make it through. That's what we need to do, but also the plants just grow right up through them. No wonder this is so hard to control here. There, allow everything except spores. So if the amethyllis gets caught in there, it should allow itself through. But we also need to turn off the spigot really quick. And the steam is not passing through here, surprisingly. No wonder I couldn't find it. Is it being blocked by water? It's being blocked by water. Well, isn't that annoying? And we just have a whole amalgamation of weird money-making things that are moving for us. Although I guess we do gotta figure out where these spores end up in all of this. As soon as any of the spores actually make it up here. Okay, we see some on the conveyor over there, so it's getting there. Oh, or instead the wet spores just float on the surface, of course. Okay, you know what, fine. We have a filter to allow, or to block wet spore here to move it to the elevator there, and then the sand and whatnot falls through, and now it's moving up there. It's just gonna take a while because the shakers are a little slower than everything else. Oh good, they actually do work. You can see them moving there on the second level. Oh, yes! You know, I really feel like the digger drones are gonna have their work cut out for them with how much of the wet spores are going crazy here. Are there even any seeds that are left over waiting to grow? I have no idea. Burn it all. We're also just gonna have a bit of insurance here with a launcher. We could do a vertical one like that, just to keep it in. Sure. So a little bit gets dropped on there, and then it all gets shuffled upwards, and poof. And sure enough, a lot of wet sand has ended up here, so get back over to the shakers. No wonder why the money gain slowed down. But thankfully, this whole endeavor has sped up the process very well, and the money is flowing again, quite literally in some cases. I swear, the slag is like the best moneymaker right now. It's like the most return on investment for, you know, burning it, collecting it from the wet sand, which is a lot of it, by the way. And then basically all of it gets turned into money. And all of it gets turned into spores as well, which is, you know, how that goes. Okay, good news, the drones are here, but they're a little interesting to figure out. See, these are the haulers, which you set up a point A and a point B, but you can't really get rid of that. And the most effective use of this one, I think, might just be to grab the wet spores here, which it does grab quite a few of them at a time, and just bring them up to the surface. So it's just a constant recycling. And I also found out the fun way that the rockets are a lot better at clearing out the flowers than just the normal flamethrower. Now, if you also pair that up with the upgrade to make the rockets incendiary, then that would be even better. But also, the digger drones don't really work the way I wish they did, because they dig like that, and then they stop when they hit somewhere that's a hard surface, like the bedrock. And they go through all the blocks, which is not really what I wanted. So I guess these guys are better served underground. So if we brought the drone over here and then bounced him around like so, hold on, that works pretty well when it actually works. Although some of them it seems like just stops at random points or passes through at random points. Not really sure what that's about, but that is clearing up the vertical conveyor very nicely and revealing a lot of sand. Oh, I love this. Just create a whole pit of it here, why don't ya? Ooh, and open up even more pits and finding more Fluxite. and snow and whatnot. Okay, we'll let those guys have fun. Oh boy, another cavern here, and even more Fluxite. We might be able to get those incendiary warheads sooner than later. And it looks like we hit bedrock down here too, but we also can get a little bit deeper over here, it seems like. I guess that's not bedrock, that should, oh wait, that is bedrock. But we can still go deeper over here. Okay, but let's get this stuff out of here first by extending the giant vertical conveyor here. Oh, and I guess there is still dirt bits that are in the way, because of course there is. Thankfully, it's a problem that's easily solved. And I gotta say, those digging drones were a lot of fun just now. So go get them, right in there. Just bounce around this whole little tunnel here that brought us to the second relic. And that guy's still going. Wow, good job. And goodbye. But since this is like this now, let's just clear this out through here and then set up a conveyor under here to move everything over to the thingy like this, which is already moving the entire thing of sand up here. That's working better than I thought it would. And we can do the same thing over here just to bring it all to the middle. And then instead of doing this process on our own, we just have a hauler do this. That should work nicely. So we're back to the reds. I almost called it redstone again. Red sand that we found before. And they just found even more red soil for us to go through. Awesome. I think it's just one guy, one little digger that's going absolutely ballistic down here. And now it looks like things are working normally here again, but I've also noticed that the money hasn't gone up for a while. Well, actually, this is working pretty normal, looks like, but it's getting blocked over here because of the snow. Just like real life, the snow finds a way to be annoying. Thankfully, though, it's a problem easily fixed. But also, oh my gosh, the amount of sand that's making it through here. That is not good. What even went wrong here? It might just be the sand getting caught in the double conveyors here, or the double filters, that's making it not necessarily reach the water. And I don't really want to trust a drone to do this because it's just going to be overkill with it. But that snow is causing so many problems. And there's still plenty more of it on the way. So I think we could definitely replace all of this with filters to allow snow through and nothing else. So we just have to purify a whole bunch of stuff, or just keep up with the melting process here. But that is also a lot of wet sand that's piling up there. I'm also pretty sure the drones don't have a filter on the things that they grab. They just grab like a whole section of something and just move it all. We just need to figure out like a better filter through all this. Is there a spot the snow could fall to without being annoying? I guess if the snow fell through here, I wouldn't be annoyed by it. So let's quickly get that fixed so the normal sand can resume. Torch the slag as usual, and then do a whole bunch of above ground to underground moving while separating the snow instead of letting it pass through. The most annoying part of any setup, the cleanup that needs to happen because something makes it through the cracks. Stuff that shouldn't be there. We also have so much sand over here. The water is starting to get a little overrun, and the reservoir here is completely emptied. It's not even worth putting a pipe in here. Just get it all out of here. Which the pipes seem kind of redundant anyway, if there's so many steam vents like this. So I guess we can set up a pipe network from this spot here all the way over to here, so the water can flow again. Now that should be a constant supply of water filling that up now. Good. And has our system cleaned up here quite yet? A little bit more so, but it's also starting to get a little oversaturated with the amount of sand passing through there. Even the wet sand that goes there normally is getting through somehow. So what we might need to do is just copy this whole thing and move it up a level, kind of like so. Which means that this whole thing needs to face the other way, actually. So we can get it right over to here. And then we might need a few other mini launchers just to move it over to this. Actually, that should work just as well. Good enough anyway. And of course, it always has to have a little dripping problem. So the slag and whatnot can be brought to the middle like this. Same with the burnt slag. But then from there, any sand that comes in will end up in this little pit down here, where we can get rid of these conveyors, and then the drone can bring everything back to the line here. Because once all this slag is filtered through, it shouldn't get any lower than this up here. Oh yes, a working filtration system. This is gonna be super good. Although I guess we could have told them to bring it over here instead, but either way, that should work plenty good. Now we don't have to worry about any overflow. We still need like 2400 to get the Flux eminator, so at the very least our system that comes through here is gonna work pretty nicely. And we still have the conveyor here, which is good. So now we can crack this open and have like an hourglass effect coming through here that's filtering all the snow super well. I also forgot this was Fluxite that we didn't harvest yet, but hopefully it works well enough that we don't get sand falling out the back here, because that is super satisfying to watch actually. And the whole top layer just gets shaved off probably a good thing. Oh, it also looks like the drones got replaced down here. So there must be an upgrade. Okay, the maximum number of hauler drones, that would be it. So we can replace them, or in effect delete them, by having them work elsewhere. So that's good news. But also, if we don't want to use the drones, then the vertical elevator still works just as good. I guess they're called launchers these days. And we might as well just open up this whole area. So there's a whole lot more sand to move. So we have an impressive backlog of sand already. Hopefully there's enough water to keep up with this. Okay, let's fly back into here and then free up the water that's in here, just so we have more going to the little lake that we have, and right through all of this fun little chemistry set, which is kind of hilarious. Might as well just empty this whole thing out because we have so much sand to process. Okay, I don't think it's supposed to be slowing down this much though. Oh wait, I wonder if it's because this conveyor that's right under the launcher is going the other way. That was absolutely the case. And then the rest of this sand and whatnot we can filter ourselves because there's so little of it. And it's starting to look like the water's about to overflow. And I think now we can put the conveyor belts back in the middle. I'm just really glad I don't have to fight the entire slag pile to get the sand out of here. Okay, and now the slag is so effective that this is piling up. But we're doing well enough we can get rid of these, which only help the pile so much. All right, flamethrower, you're long overdue. I feel like all the money that we're missing is right here in this slag. But there's also so much of it. It's piling up like crazy here. Just gotta clean it out instead of running it through myself. And as soon as we can free up this middle column, that should solve everything. And now we fight the spore problem again. Because of course, so many of these annoying flowers. It's even blocking the gold from pouring through. Thankfully though, we just gotta wait a little bit longer before we can afford the Flux eminator. And somehow there's still sand making it through here. How? Also, I just realized that the money piles are getting excessively full. They're filling over, or they're overflowing. That's exactly not what you want money to do. Well, kind of. Oh, great. Now it just fell back into the pit. At least it could still kind of make its way back to the money piles. But that was an unexpected problem. Goes to show how expensive this thing is, I guess. Look at all that money that's there. That is insane. And when it's all counted, okay, we're a lot closer than I thought we were, which is good. And I guess we need to expand to this one a bit this way. And then let it all pour out here. Oh, yes. Dive into those coins, Scrooge McDuck. Okay, so that should solve that for a little bit longer as well. This one, yeah, let's expand this one too. Get it all in there. Which I guess the coins overflowing might also be why the wet sand is having a hard time getting through here, but also I think the dry sand is just blocking it somehow. Don't do that. It's rude and annoying. But we are almost there, and then we can empty out a whole bunch of these money pockets. Just gotta get the burnt slag dripping again. We can worry about the spore problem later, because we have 4,000 now, yes! Now we can get the Flux eminator and say goodbye to all those coins that we had. Wow, but there it is, a Flux eminator converts void bloom into Fluxite. And it's just only one Flux eminator can exist at a time. Interesting. So how do you work? Do we take void bloom and drop you through there? Oh, we do. Look at that, we have Fluxite and it's growing underneath, which we still have to mine ourselves. But that's a constant source of that. Neat. But this is pretty annoying though, because only one of these can exist at a time. Although it does seem to grow pretty regularly out of itself. So that's good at least. And then we just mine it like normal. But I think I want this way out of the way then, just so we can have a lot of it going on once. Maybe right over here. So that way we can go back underground, find the red soil, bring it up all the way around here, hopefully being able to dodge everything. Although I wonder if we could actually set a drone to do all that. But actually, realistically, we should be able to bring this all along the same system and then filter it at the surface. So I think right here is where we can filter it the easiest. So ideally, since it's wet sand that's gonna pass through here, we block the selected element, allow everything else, which would also help any sand that accidentally gets caught up in that. And then we calmly delete the conveyor right here, so it still works as good, if needing a little bit of a blocking here. And then the red sand can have its own private conveyor to go through here and then all the way up, even though I can barely move vertical as it is. Hopefully we don't need to do any more things with steam because this is taking up a lot of room. But then you come through down and around here, and then you get dumped on top of the amethellus over here. Hopefully we find a lot of it to really reduce that pile. And then on the way back, we can stop by and torch the slag. And it seems like we got way ahead of the red sand. Oh, because it got caught right here. Of course. Which I guess means we need to extend the conveyor here. Don't know why I didn't do that in the first place, but now all of it should hopefully make it through. Or it just keeps finding more places to get wrongly sorted. But once it makes it here, it should all work out properly. When you have to fight the system to make the system work. Come on, little red sand, you can do it. We're just gonna speed up the process here for demonstration purposes, and sincerely wish I could move faster. But then when it reaches the end of the conveyor magically on its own, it drops into there, and that's making the void bloom. Yes! And then let's see, if we had a launcher set up here in the middle, it can act as sort of like a freshener kind of thing that can pass itself through a filter like so. And then that can get launched up and into a bucket here. I guess a funnel. I think a funnel is more appropriate. So funnel one way, funnel the other way, into the flux eminator. That should bring the void bloom up to the flux eminator. The flux eminator, that's hard to say fast, but we got it. It's working. I guess it's not completely perfect because some of this is making it through. Oh, that's just because the filter is being overrun. Surprisingly fast, because the pile isn't given enough time to settle. That is surprising. It's also spilled out so much over here, my goodness. At least there's still void bloom that we can get in there, and the Fluxite is growing very nicely. But I feel like if we can figure that out, then everything else should be pretty good to go. With the exception of some annoying greenery. Not me though. I might be green, but I'm not the annoying one. As much as people would disagree with that. Ooh, I just had an idea. We put the filter up here, allow the void bloom through right at the top of our filter, and then anything else that's wrong gets put on this conveyor belt here because it's all going into the pile anyway. Oh, I like this idea. Just need to find a piece of void bloom to track that makes it up here. Oh, there's some. So it goes on up, and then gets spit out, and it drops down like that. Oh, that worked beautifully. Now we just need a massive amount of red sand to come through here and survive the current, assembly process. How is there so much wet sand that makes it through here? It's ridiculous. Really makes me wonder, if we're seeing red sand right now, how much further does this planet go down? Well, I guess we can find out by just loosening a whole bunch of it with some diggers, especially when they get a good streak going like that. My goodness. Oh, we're finding more Fluxite. Why am I still surprised? Honestly, because there's still so much of it that we're finding. It's ridiculous. Oh, but we're finding bedrock down here. We might be at the end of our path downward. Actually, are we? Hold on. Just need to get you digging more that way. There we go. I love it when it does that. But it still isn't quite effective when it's next to this stuff. So I guess the most convenient system is just to have a launcher do like this. And then it can all go down through here and everything. So now the money-making machine rolls again. But ultimately, I want to follow a bit of red sand through here and see if that makes it all the way. Because then we don't have to worry about it. I'm mostly worried about the filter here, but it goes down to filter layer number 3 and carries on. And then it filters out through here. Yes! We got it! We got the red sand filtering normally. Oh, that is a huge relief. And then it all gets over here and it'll dump in the pile that it needs to. Very good. Glad that's working. At least as much as this flawed system will allow, which it is making its way almost down to the red sand. So let's get a few more drones out there, which are very bouncy, more bouncy than it is for their own good. But if we get a good chunk of them going down this way, then we should be able to solve the issue. Although, why are the lights flickering? Is there a ghost down here? I sure hope not, but I am very pleased by the amount of red sand there is down here. Although it looks like it takes a few hits to actually dig out, which is surprising. But it also seems like we're reaching the bottom of the world over here, which means even more sand that we could potentially harvest. Although I wonder what's under the layer of ice there. I figure it's gotta be something good. So we'll just have to find out, or it's just a whole bunch of ice. Either way, we'll see how far down this goes. Oh, found bedrock. Torch everything this way. Until also some of it turns to steam, which I feel like would pressurize this little spot even more. And that's not a pleasant feeling. But with that little bit there, could the steam vent out of here is what I'm wondering. And it looks like it could. So you know what? Let's just torch it all. And then let it get on up and out of here. I think this is much more a better system than the pipe network. Simply because we could just start this and not have to worry about it. And I will just move a whole bunch of red sand right now regardless, because I want to see a whole bunch of it make it to the amethyllis on the other side. As long as this is all working, I think we could play the role of gardener pretty well to get even more amethyllis, but we already have a whole bunch stored up, so I'm definitely not doing that right now. Those plants have been a pain for enough time, And these things are super effective at digging, which I still don't know why the lights are flickering, but it's kind of spooky. But we are also hitting the bottom of the bedrock here too. And the amount of digging that needs to happen here is a little annoying. We could take some snow and drop it in here though. And oh, just solidified into scoria? What is this stuff? We can destroy it, and then scoria gets us cinder. Oh, so there is another material here that we might be able to use somewhere, but I don't know where. That might be what's behind refining 5, which is also not available. And neither is like any of the top level stuff. We can get the cryoblaster, but here's the cryoblaster, which we just blast like that. Does that just dump out snow? It just literally feeds snow everywhere. So we could solidify all this lava if we wanted. Not really sure what the benefit of that is. Did we get hurt by lava? It doesn't look like we do. What are we made of? We're built different, I guess. And just a little conveyor down here to make sure the red sand moves properly. Ultimately, I think our system was working as good as it's going to. And I do think we have reached the bottom of the world. Look at this conveyor belt now. It's all red sand. And then a little bit that's there, but we don't talk about that. Oh, I guess we're overloading the filter here. The red sand is starting to pile up here now, but I guess it will make it over to here anyway. I just wanted this to be a little bit of a faster system since there's so much wet sand to get through too. Look at the massive pile of slag here. I didn't realize this is overfilling this much. I'm lucky this conveyor was able to keep it in. Oh goodness. Clear that up as soon as I can. All of our systems are starting to overflow. That's not good. But let's just focus on the red sand, which, wow, look at the Fluxite now. And some of the amethylus is making its way up here, so this filter is working beautifully. Oh, this is amazing. Because yes, the pile here just is insanely big at all times. And I guess some of the red sand doesn't get processed, so that's ending up over here too. But we have a pretty reliable network for the Fluxite production now too. And then we can harvest a whole bunch of it and get pretty much all the upgrades that we need. Which I'm not really sure which ones we need right now, but I really enjoy our system. And I hope you guys do too. I figured there was a little more secrets that we could explore in Sandustry, and I'm glad we did. So I hope you guys enjoyed our return to our beautiful system here that has a serious flower problem. And if you guys want to see more games like this, then be sure to let me know. Thank you for watching and sub to Intern. And I would like to thank the channel members, including Bread, Corby Farm, Dakota, Donamoto, Deviant X, Ancient Elixir, Matthew, Hateful Herald, Peggy Sue, Drupalong, Lily Bites, The Miner Within, DeGarity, Sands, V, Killer Squad, Mousy Mouse, Nicholas, Igor Shradi, McKenna Chan, and Liam.